Welcome to our space for sharing knowledge, experiences, and profound life lessons through the lens of great books. Today, we will explore a classic piece of literature, a love story full of ups and downs, and profound life lessons, Gone with the Wind by the novelist Margaret Mitchell. We invite you to listen and feel. There is a novel that won the Pulitzer Prize in 1937. After more than 80 years, it remains a timeless classic, accompanying the years. That is the novel Gone with the Wind, written by the American author Margaret Mitchell. The author spent 10 years to complete the story, which is set against the backdrop of the American Civil War, telling about the life of the beautiful Scarlett O'Hara from 16 to 28 years old. A daughter like a tenacious apricot blossom amidst a snowstorm, with lessons about love, experiencing through 3 marriages and the ups and downs together with fate in the chaotic war. The writer Young Jiang said, "Reading Gone with the Wind is like stepping into a primeval forest. The deeper you go, the more you feel its beauty. Each time you read this book, you will surely have different feelings, because it will help you not only learn perceptions about love, but also settle deep thoughts about the nature of human beings and of this life, making you more mature, so that ultimately you can answer the question yourself, how to live correctly, how to choose love. And if letting yourself be gone with the wind, where will you be swept away to? Humans are very strange. The more you can't get something, the more you crave it." Scarlett O'Hara, the rich, beautiful, and charming daughter, has countless suitors, but she only likes a guy named Ashley Wilkes, her childhood sweetheart who grew up with her, perfect, handsome, talented, and gentle. For the past 2 years, almost every week Ashley visited the Scarlett's estate and danced and played with her. Ashley has never confessed his love to her, but his gentleness and thoughtfulness made Scarlett believe that he loves her and will propose to her. But one day, like a bolt from the blue, she was shocked to hear that Ashley was going to marry Melanie Hamilton, her cousin. So, at their engagement party, she dressed beautifully, approached Ashley to express her feelings and hoped that he would run away with her. But then Ashley firmly refused her. Disappointed, ashamed and resentful, she could not accept that she could not marry Ashley and was mocked by other ladies. In a fit of anger, she accepted the proposal from Melanie's cousin. However, this hasty marriage was not to escape the pain of unrequited love, but to become family with Ashley. She wanted him to regret it. After that, war broke out. Her husband of just 2 months had to join the army, but unfortunately, died from a sudden illness on the march, and she became a widow. Then Scarlett found a chance to move in with her cousin, just with the goal of being closer to Ashley. And when remarrying for the 2nd and 3rd time with other people, she still wholeheartedly thought of Ashley. Perhaps some people think that Scarlett's love for Ashley is truly intense, loyal, willing to fight for love at any time, daring to love and daring to hate, a role model for many girls who need to bravely fight for love. However, sadly Scarlett never really loved Ashley from the beginning, and that is not a true love. For Scarlett, a proud and passionate girl who had never tasted failure, no matter if Ashley became another woman's husband, even if she is someone else's wife, even if he goes to the ends of the earth, she still decided that Ashley is the man she loves most in this life. But this pursuit is not sincere, but in fact, it is a stubborn obsession of hers with what has not been achieved. Because human beings are very strange animals, whatever cannot be obtained will make people restless, whatever cannot be achieved will make people crave. Like the saying, old love is hard to forget. Love is beautiful only when it's unfinished, but is it really so? Or are we caught in some kind of psychological effect? There is a psychological effect called the Zeigarnik effect. Psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik had an experiment in which she asked a group of people to do 20 tasks. The first 10 tasks were assigned without any interruptions or distractions, so they completed them quickly, but in the next 10 tasks, she arranged to interrupt the progress of the participants, so these people were not completed on time. After the experiment, Zeigarnik investigated the psychology of the participants and found that they were more impressed with the unfinished task than with the 10 tasks that had been completed. In which, this psychological effect shows that people easily forget the things that have been completed, but deeply remember things that are half done or have not been performed. This also applies in relationships. What cannot be obtained will become more beautiful. The more cannot receive the response of someone will become more obsessed. The more you care, the more you will fear losing. Moreover, people easily lose themselves, get lost, and have serious contradictions in themselves. The more you can't get it, the more you crave it. When you get it, you don't cherish it. In the novel Red Rose, White Rose, there is a sentence like this: marrying a red rose, gradually the red turns into a bloodstain from a mosquito on the wall. White is still the bright moonlight in front of the bed. Marrying a white rose, white is just a grain of rice stuck on the shirt, red is a mole in the heart. Having the red of the rose, then craving white. Having white, then longing for red. Like the spoon coffee earrings in blue color that Scarlett nagged her father to buy for her when the earrings were in her hands, it was also when they officially lost their original value. Scarlett was just like so many humans among us, who couldn't tell what was truly her passion. Do we like eating ice cream, or just like the feeling of wanting to have ice cream? The feeling before getting ice cream is the best, but once finished eating you may feel immediately tired of it. Or, when we desperately put all our energy into winning the highest award in a competition, when the achievement is won you will be left with an endless feeling of emptiness, and to overcome this feeling, you continue to chase other goals. Humans are always spinning wildly in the desire for what they do not have in their hands. Because they don't have it, that's why they think that thing is the most beautiful. Because it can't be achieved, that's why people are so urged. But that's not the real motivation for you to live and love. Don't let this illusion deceive you. Sometimes letting go is not a person but a stubborn imagination in our hearts. After all, Scarlett awakened to her feelings for Rhett. She said, "He never really existed except in my own imagination." In psychology, there is another psychological effect called the halo effect. It shows that people often appreciate others when only based on one trait or one quality that leads to self-deception, blinding themselves so that they don't see other qualities in the other person. But this is just a limited view because you don't have a full understanding of that person. Haven't had a chance to bond for a long time, then how can you have a clear understanding of each other? Never faced difficulties with that person, then how can you experience the conflict and discomfort that they bring? If you love a person without having a complete understanding of them, then that feeling is nothing more than a one-sided romantic illusion that you build yourself, and that will only be like flowers on the water, like the moon in the mirror. Thirsting to quench each drop, that great motivation is love, but not, you don't love that person, but just love that person in your imagination. More precisely, it is to satisfy and fill the empty ego of you only. So what do you see in the story of Scarlett and Ashley? You need to see the nature of human beings, that we always chase after what we don't have, and that is also the path that makes you get swept up in illusion and leads to suffering. Therefore, before deciding to spend a lifetime with someone, we must really understand them, accept both the good and bad sides of the other party, and with all sincerity, you will have the beginning of true love. Don't ever take marriage as a tool. When war and chaos occur, in order to keep the estate and save the people in her family, Scarlett used her beauty to find every way to marry again with a rich man named Frank, but Frank was her younger sister's fiancé. Scarlett clearly understood her sister. After marrying Frank, her sister will definitely not use money to help the family. There was only one way to get the money: to coax Frank, telling him that Scarlett had fallen for someone else and was about to marry that person. 2 weeks later, Scarlett married Frank as she wanted, but after living together, Scarlett wanted to work hard to make money. Frank only wanted her to be a virtuous wife and raise children. That's enough. Scarlett was always independent, but Frank found every way to control her work, and the lives of the two people were full of contradictions. For Scarlett, this marriage that seemed inseparable only had endless quarrels along with deep loneliness. There was no so-called love. A marriage chosen to compromise for material interests will surely be filled with dissatisfaction. Ultimately can only be trapped in a cage that one weaves themselves and spend their whole life in regret. If you take marriage as a tool, in the end you will become a tool of marriage yourself. Then Frank joined a reactionary revolution and was shot dead. Scarlett again became a widow. Love is not a game, nor is it business. Weighing the gains and losses is a meaningless weariness of feelings. Shakespeare said, "If in love there is calculation, then it has nothing to do with love. If there are other purposes related to it, then it is not real love." True love surely means giving sincerity with sincerity, not caring who takes the initiative first, just hoping not to miss each other. Don't ever immerse yourself in one-sided love. After 2 remarryings, you have changed from a girl who was pampered by everyone into a husband-killing widow in the eyes of others. Along with the chaos of society, Scarlett had to experience poverty, war, and endure the pain from the death of her parents. Now she, from a rich noble lady, who never needed to do a thing, has become an independent businesswoman. After that, her entire hometown and Ashley's family had to depend on her to survive. In the process of giving and taking, there is always someone waiting and adding courage to her. That is Rhett Butler. Rhett had risked his life to steal horses for Scarlett in the smoke of war and escorted her back to the Tara estate. He had witnessed the 2 previous failed marriages and became a knight, a third husband who protected her at all times. Rhett spent a lot of money to please Scarlett, took her on a honeymoon, combed her hair, soothed her like a child, bought land, and built a house extremely extravagant according to her wishes. Rhett, who loved Scarlett deeply again and again, tolerated and pampered her as much as he could. He wanted Scarlett to be happy, happier than any other girl. Although that was the case, Scarlett's heart was still haunted by Ashley. She even thought in a silly way that even though she could not be with Ashley, she could be celibate with him. So, after Scarlett gave birth to her daughter, she demanded to sleep separately. The spoiled always do not know fear. Those that are pampered always don't know worry. Only enjoying pampering from others is a kind of illusion of happiness. It is fragile. Because when immersed in that illusion, you can openly demand, can rest assured, and unnecessarily cause trouble, can freely squander the other person's pampering, can thoughtlessly hurt the other person's sincerity, can take it for granted. As such, no one will always stand in one place to greet you. In a close relationship, if only one side is constantly taking, then it will not only make the other party bruised with injuries but also may lose themselves and therefore not see the sincere heart of others, and ultimately find it difficult to have true happiness. Any feeling, if not established based on giving and taking, then even if it is eternal love, there will be a day that it runs out. Finally, in disappointment and fatigue, Rhett made the decision to leave. At this time, Scarlett realized that she and Rhett were truly meant for each other. They understood each other better than anyone else, and only Rhett loved her completely, both good and bad. Rhett was the one who encouraged her. And that's the story of Scarlett O'Hara and her lessons about love, resilience, and life choices. Hopefully, today's sharing has helped you gain more insight into life and love. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next exciting content. Thank you for listening and see you in the next videos.